But is it possible to live our life in such a manner? We have to compromise. We have to give and take. We have to feel. We have to be more conscious. We have to forgive. We have to break certain things, just to let
Yeah.
go.
And welcome back to the Faith of Our Fathers podcast. I'm your host, Theodore, and with me, as always, the Orthodox Christian priest, Father Constantine Nasser over there.
Well, hi, Theodore. How are you?
I'm doing great tonight, Father. Tonight, we are going to start another series. I think we like these series here. Is that a word? Series? I don't know. But tonight we're going to cover a book that Father wrote, what's like 22 years ago now.
2003.
It's called, it's called A Practical Guide for Priests and Pastors. And here it is right here. And I've gotten about halfway through in preparation here. And I think that there's a lot that we can learn, not just priests and pastors. I think there's a lot in here for the laity too, most definitely. Just looking at the table of contents here, I think there's lots that all of us can learn just by looking at the first. So tonight I think we'll start with maybe a little introduction to it. So what made you want to write this book, Father? I mean, there's lots of people out there that you can help with this. What made you decide that this is something you wanted to do?
Going to the seminary and meeting seminarians, most of the seminarians today, but during my time, seminarians who are not sons of priests, maybe in their distant relatives, they have a priest. But I'm talking about almost 50 some years back, 55 years ago. And being born in a priestly family is a blessing, number one. Number two is that witnessing living in a home of a priestly family, you hear things, you see things, you wonder about things, you learn a lot. But being children of priests, have maybe a better opportunity, shall I say, from someone who have never been in a priestly family.
Oh, most definitely.
Okay?
Oh,
Just
I'm sure
like
there's
a
lots of
doctor
things.
whose daddy is a doctor, a lawyer whose daddy is a lawyer. Things rubs on the terminology, the activities, the challenges, the problems. So I spent 7 years at St. Vladimir's since 1966, graduated in 1973. And I met lots of students and lots of good, faithful men of God, women of God at the seminary. And I really try to learn from their experiences. And I said many times to myself, if you are not born in a priestly family, it has to be difficult to adjust.
Oh, yeah.
To the habit, to the traditions, to the time.
Just the daily life of it, the daily routine of it all.
To the requirement, to other obligations, and to your role as a priest, whether you are a pastor, you are a man of all trades now as a priest.
Yeah.
So when I became a priest, I went to see the rabbits, Iowa in 73 till 82. And I learned a lot from my ministry. And then I came here to Oklahoma City in 82. when I was a seminarian, and through the years of my ministry, even till today, I aligned myself with elderly priests, with middle-aged priests, with young priests,
Mm-hmm.
so I can learn from their experiences, or I can share my thoughts or my experience, because I see priests really struggle in their parish, and newly going to a parish, how to deal and wheel and what is essential. There are priests who, young men who enter into the priesthood and good academic and devotion, but the practical element of living the ministry is really very, very
Right.
challenging.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I began to gather ideas to put into a capsule, into a book, so I can help from my experience, my brothers, the seminarians, and also share my knowledge and my experience and my faults and my successes, so that they will be better in their own ministry. So I was grateful to Father Thomas Hopko, rest his soul, invited me to speak at Saint Vladimir's seminary
Mm-hmm.
years back, on do's and don'ts, what you should do and avoid from doing.
Right. Right.
And it happened that I went over there and I spoke to the classes of the seminarians that time. And it was suggested by one of the seminarians that maybe I should put things into writings, might help. And
Mm-hmm.
as a result of that, talking to those priests that have helped me through the years, and their names are in the book, whether rest his
Yeah.
soul, Father Tom Ruffin, or my father, or Father Kuri, or Father Elias, or Father Shalom, or Father Nicholas Dahdal, um, other priests who have come to my aid. Decided to put a kind of an outline, in the hope
Mm-hmm.
that from my experience I can fill the gaps and address the subject matter. And I did that for a while. Then finally, I put it into a book in 2003. And I have been invited to speak to seminarians at St. Tikhon and St. Vladimir's. But this
Mm-hmm.
book not only can be applied to a priest, could be applied to a layman, whether he is married or a head of corporation. But
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
it's
That's what I found.
an
Yeah.
advice like the I'm not. I'm just a simple guy trying to put something to help, and if it can help you, well, why not? You know. And
Right.
and
Yeah.
before I did that, publish it, I wrote to His Eminence Metropolitan Philip to bless me. That's his soul.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna read the introduction, the preface. It's
Okay.
important. This book, compiled by economist Constantine Nasser of St. Elijah Church in Oklahoma City, contains much of his insight and wisdom. His research and the nature of the books is based on his service to Christ's Holy Church throughout his life. Father Constantine, who comes from a priestly family, was raised in the life of the church from his childhood. He provides a wealth of information through the eyes of a child, of a priest, and later as a pastor himself. Undoubtedly, this book will give assistance to a new generation of priests, from a man who has been spent his life bringing God to man and man to God. Praying the information contained in these pages will benefit and aid all who read this book. I did it not to be glorified. Of course, I did it to serve.
Right.
And
Right.
I want the priest uh, to feel at ease and to be cautious in their ministry and their activities, and having this outline, I was convinced it will be great help. My friend
Yeah.
Charles Powell, okay, he was a media director, in the archdiocese, wrote a foreword. He came from the Protestant world, who embraced
Okay.
orthodoxy, and
Yeah. Sounds
huh?
familiar. Sounds familiar.
And I think I should read the foreword
Please
because
do.
I think it has something to stir in the mind of the listener. He or she, he doesn't have to be a priest.
Right.
Whoever hear this can apply it to himself or herself on a daily basis for a betterment of life. So he writes
Yeah.
from the book of the Proverbs 8:33, hear instruction and be wise, and do not disdain it. Of course, we always would like to move in life by having these instruction, whether they are written or verbal, and or being reminded with these instructions. Okay.
Yeah.
And so in the book of the Proverb is full of wisdom and
Yeah.
instructions. And if we just take little time to contemplate on a verse or two, or a chapter, we go a long, long way.
Yeah.
But he
Yeah.
says, as a former pastor, Charles Powell was a former pastor in a Pentecostal church. I found myself wishing many times I had the trusted counsel of a more experienced minister to turn to in many situations. However, in the faith tradition I was raised in, we were encouraged to go our own way, quote unquote. And that's not in the Orthodox Church.
Right. Right.
We have
Right.
accountability. I mean, we have a higher up,
Yeah.
Now that I am Orthodox, I continue to learn the value of listening more to the wisdom of the timeless tradition of the church than trusting in my own instincts for guidance. When you think about it, it just makes sense to draw conclusions on matter both small and large in life and ministry from the most trustworthy sources. Why reinvent the wheel? And that's what
That's exactly what I was
no,
thinking.
uh,
That's exactly
uh,
what I was
uh,
thinking.
uh, I don't know if I mentioned that before, but I was invited to go to St. Philip College, uh, western of Oklahoma, uh,
Mhm.
and I was invited to celebrate the Vesper service. I took some people from our young people to help me respond, but also I was invited to sit with the students, hear the students presenting their own liturgical expression. In other words, the minister told them, each one of you, in your own way, create a worship service. So it
Okay.
was about 25, 30 students attending the class, and there were some girls. And I'm sitting here, and this one described his outline, and the other one outline. And all around, I said to myself, if there was 25, 30 people having their own learning how to write the liturgical worship, we're going to have another 25, 30 denominations.
Right. Right. The opposite of what we want.
And I'm listening here, and then I was asked the professor to say to if I can say a few words. So
Uh-huh.
those people who were in the class attended the Vesper service. So I said, why you have to reinvent the wheel? Those
Mm-hmm.
honestly, those what I said. And invent the
Yeah,
wheel
yeah.
when it's already the church presented us with beautiful liturgical worship, with all services, with liturgy. You
Yeah.
have attended the Vesper service that every Orthodox church throughout the world celebrates. Why you
For
have to
2,000
you,
years.
you
Yeah.
try to you're gonna be burned out because you do it maybe for 6 months or a year. Then what you gonna create anymore? What
Right.
kind of service? What kind of music you gonna inject? You know
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
what kind of dance you gonna do in the church? Now it's your 25 people, okay? And so he's coming from reinvent the wheel. So when I was reading this, I thought of the college that I was invited to. This is why
Right,
this
right.
collection of wisdom from Father Constantine is so valuable, gleaned from 30 years in ministry and having accumulated the wisdom, the long line of Orthodox clergymen in his own family. Father Constantine offer leaders in this volume a source of learned lessons that can shed light on these issues, both spiritual and practical. Priests and lay leaders face as they shoulder the high calling of shepherding of the flock of God. After reading this book by Father Nasser, I imagined Orthodox Christian leaders all over the country leaving this book on their desk or by their nightstand as a quick reference. In these pages, you will hear the seasoned voice of a loving pastor, the practical and insightful lessons of a wise clergyman, and the heart of an Orthodox Christian missionary distilled from the life of a man committed to being a good shepherd in the flock of Christ. This book helps the busy priest and leader by offering helpful insights and hard learning lessons. Some of this wisdom may help you to avoid small stumbles. Some of this wisdom may give you the information you need to avert a crisis. Exactly, that's the purpose.
Yeah.
What I wanted to do to help
Right.
my brothers. I know many of us prefer the school of hard knocks, but the older I get, the more I want to listen to the wise words of those who have done it right and served God's people, not from a desire of earthly gain, but from a servant's heart. You now hold such a resource in your hands. That's Charles Powell's, that's 2003. I am unworthy to put this book together, but I feel I'm blessed by those who bless me,
Yeah.
okay, with their wisdom, with their
Mm-hmm.
knowledge. My brother-in-law, priest, his name is Father John Elias, married to my sister Noel, and
Mm-hmm.
he served in Yonkers, he served in Akron, Ohio. He served in Omaha, Sioux City, Iowa, in Omaha, Nebraska, in El Paso, Texas, that end up in Jacksonville, Florida. And I learned a lot from him. He was ecclesiastical lawyer from the church. He came to in the
Mm-hmm.
60s to finish his theology, get his master degree in in the canon law. I have my
Mm-hmm.
other brother-in-law, uh, Joseph Antipas, married to my sister Elaine, and he's a priest in Detroit. And I learned a lot, from his experience and his activities as a pastor of the church and hardworking man. Um, Father George Shalhoub, another wonderful man who have giving a life to the church. Nicholas Dahdal, my cousin, my brother, who also just like me, learning from our daddies, uh,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
the tricks, shall I say?
Right.
Okay,
Right. Right.
the ways and means how to handle this, how to handle that, and so when I was doing this, when I was encouraged to do it by the late Father Thomas Hapko, I made a visitation to my brother-in-law, and I said, John, I want to ask you a question. You have been in this church, and you have been in this church, and you have been in this church, and you have been in this. You have been in this church. How many churches you have served? A lot. I said, now you are retired because of sickness, you are retired. If you are called once again to serve the church, what advice can you give a priest? He said to me, he said, I will be more practical. More practical. When he graduated from the seminary, from the old country, from the university, and came here, he was a lawyer. And when he came to this country, studied major in canon law, so his mind is set black and white.
Yeah, legal mind.
Legal mind.
Yeah.
And you cannot be like the Pharisee. Okay? He believed it, he thought it, he learned it, and he, as a faithful pastor, really he was. He wanted to do things right, according to the letter.
Right.
But even to the letter, you cannot fulfill it.
Right.
And so so whether this parish or that parish or that parish or that parish, he served them well, but he transferred because of challenges and excitement, moving from one church to another church. He had challenge of serving the ministry, following the book, the liturgical instruction, the canon. You got to send 9 times or 20 times, whatever. Make the sound. He was
step by step, checking off the boxes. Yeah.
In his heart, he was doing the right thing. Yes.
Right.
But is it possible to live our life in such a manner? We have to compromise. We have to give and take. We have to feel. We have to be more conscious. We have to forgive. We have to break certain things, just to let go. And so as a result of that, he said to me, I will be more practical if God allowed me to serve him once again.
It reminds me of something that Father John said a few times. I've heard him say it a lot of times. Is it's the spirit of the law, not the letter of the law.
It is the spirit of the law, the letter of the law. And yes, you're right. We just I mean, if you say it's black, yes, you could look at this picture and it is black. But if you get the microscope, and look deeper, there's colors in the black.
Yeah. Lots of gray.
So we have to. So as a result, I decided to put this into writings, and I leaned on my brothers, the priest. I leaned on my family. I leaned on my mother. I leaned on my sister Angela Lester Soul, because she lived with my dad. And in fact, when I used to go to Florida in the preparation of this book, I would talk to my sister about these things, or my sister Noel, or my sister Elaine, or my cousin Nicholas, because I want a feedback.
Right.
Because I felt that if I'm putting all this effort in, okay, these are recommendation. It's a handbook. Just give you a reminder. I was in San Antonio, Texas, and Father John Milfridge, who's the priest there now, belonged to the the Melkite rite. One thing led to another. They said to me, I look at your book. I have it. I do it.
He
Father
did.
Chris Salami in Phoenix, Arizona, likewise, the priest. In fact, about maybe good 10 or 13 years ago, we were at a convention, I believe in Chicago. I brought with me from Oklahoma 350 copies. While the priests were gathered at the convention, I gave the priests each one as a gift.
Nice.
And about 10 years ago or so, the Metropolitan of the Greek Archdiocese in Ottawa, Canada, I think Ottawa, called and spoke to my wife, and he ordered 85 books for his clergy.
Yeah. Nice.
Okay. So if I can, if I, and as I say, this is a good time to address this book, and it begins, again, it begins with time. So the time is the essence. Time is the essence. So priests have provided me with good recommendations from their examples, their approach of ministry, their activities. But I was not bashful to ask for an advice.
You're right. Yeah.
Sometimes we fall into the temptation of pride.
Right.
I am not
Right. A lot of time.
Anybody. I think I know it. I don't need to search information. I know it. I don't need to talk to him. I know it. But that should not be the case. We should, my father would say, I will not leave a stone silent. I have to turn it to see what's underneath it.
Right.
So beneath our souls, beneath this rock, in the mind, heart, and soul, there's a treasure. Sometimes manifested the treasure by our character and our behavior, our activities, and sometimes is crushed a treasure because we are selfish and desire not to share. So we want what Jesus said. He came to share. He came to give. And we are in this hour talking about this practical guide to help me and help you and help others in their way of life, whether single or married or priest or teachers or instructors or whatever the vocation is. And from here we can go forward, Theodore, to plunge into the work, what we need to accomplish for. So
that's perfect. That's a great introduction, Father. And on the next episode, we will start diving in.
All right. Well,
so, yeah, until next time, right?
Till next time. And because time is the essence, we might not have time.
Yeah, like that's a good segue. All right, we'll see you next time. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us spread the word about the show. So, for Father Constantine, I'm Theodore, and we'll see you on the next episode of Faith of Our Fathers podcast.